to this. It's all about the alignment, and let's talk about it with Tammy Loftis. We have her, invited her, and she's here now with us, sharing her stories and feel good stories and many beautiful things. So, and you're always so inspirational and driven, Tammy. So good to have you here. Thanks for being here. How are you
Oh, thank
today?
you so much. I am awesome, dude. It's Sunday. It is a beautiful day. Today's the first day in like some weeks. It hasn't been in the 90s here in California, so it's actually feeling like fall. So that's great. But no, I'm awesome, dude. Had a really awesome couple of months and just so much movement, man. There's so much movement. So many things have happened. Like it's just I'm in awe. I'm still having pinch me moments.
So tell me about it. What's going on in your life now? What's
Oh
on the
wow.
roll?
Okay. So, when I moved to California, my ultimate goal was to retire from personal training. And that has officially happened. I am no longer a personal trainer at the gym. I have officially retired. I'm super excited about that. I'm full-time life coach, full-time public speaker, and author. So that was the major goal of moving out to California. So that is a reality now. So I am super freaking excited about that. Hey, Jen, I see you. Um, so yeah, I'm super excited about that. It was my clients were amazing. So like the last day at the gym, I'm doing my boot camp like I always do, and they bring mimosas, they bring bottles of wine, they brought cookies, they brought braided lemon bread, like all my favorite stuff. They were hugging me. We took all these pictures, and of course I cried, and all the fun stuff. So that was amazing, and the that I was on after classes that day. I was on my way up to Long Beach because I'm a part of Life Vantage, and we were having our convention in Long Beach. And on the way up to Long Beach, I have a lady inbox me from Women of Power, and the first thing she says is, "Hey, I read your story, and I think you would be perfect for our convention that we're doing in San Diego. If you're interested, here's the link. Please fill out the speaker application so we can interview you and get the process underway so we can go ahead and get you on our speaker list." I I was like, how much more confirmation do you need that you're doing the right thing by stepping out of your comfort zone when you don't have it all figured out and just stepping into your purpose? You know what I mean? I was just like, I was in full on tears driving up to Long Beach when that happened. And so that was like a great weekend while we were there. I got to see Vanna. I haven't seen her since we went to Norway for our leadership retreat in 2017. And then I went to Birmingham to see my kids on the 15th, which was like that following Tuesday. And so that morning I get up, I'm getting ready, packing, eating breakfast and all this kind of stuff. And I talked to Anne Renee from back in Atlanta. We had talked a few months ago. She's part of a nonprofit called Purses of Hope. And so what they do is they get purses and bags and they fill it with all of these toiletry items to give them uh, to give them hope, basically. And they also put in pages in there with resources to help them get out of homelessness and this, that, and the other. And we had originally talked about wanting to work out a deal where my book goes in each of those purses that goes to the homeless women. So that was super huge. That was a few months ago. Well, I hadn't talked to her in a few months. And so as we're talking, she has her business partner on this, help put together the nonprofit. And they have an event in Atlanta on November 16th. Well, guess who is going to be the guest speaker, the only speaker on November 16th in Atlanta? Me, myself, and I. So I
That's
wasn't
so
sure if I
awesome.
could, right. I wasn't sure if I could go, you know what I mean? Because it's not paid. And so as soon as we were on the phone for like an hour, and oh my God, I almost forgot about this. Like so much stuff happened that day. Like there's been so much stuff. So Her partner, and I can't remember her name. I feel really bad about that, but I got to figure that out. She works at one. Thank you, Jen. She works at one of the prison systems there in Atlanta. I told her about my book and what I do and how I coach, about how to coach people out of being a victim and playing the victim, having that victim mindset. And she was like, "Oh my God, we need your book in the prison." So she's going back and talking the head priest or whatever it is, the at the prison, to see if they can get my book in the prison system. And I was just floored
awesome.
by that. That was freaking amazing. And so when I got off the phone with him, I looked up flights. I found a round trip flight to Atlanta for $166. How fast did I book that? Boom, immediately. Text her back, said, "Hey, I'm going to be in Atlanta." And she was like, "Oh my God, this is so awesome." So they immediately changed all their flyers to have me as the guest speaker. I'll have my own table, be able to sell my books there, and the whole nine. So that's super awesome to have that happen. So I get to the airport that day because I'm flying out to Birmingham to see my kids. So I'm walking around the airport, and since I've been in Atlanta, I have yet to eat barbecue because I'm very spoiled about having barbecue in the South. Like, that's our pride and joy, is our barbecue. And so there's this place called Phil's Barbecue, and I walked through there, and I was like, I really don't want to eat here. And so I'm talking on the phone to my daughter. I walked all the way to the other end of the airport in the section that I'm at. And I end up back at Phil's Barbecue, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to eat here. For whatever reason, I was wandering aimlessly and didn't even realize that I had walked back to that end of the airport. And so I sat down, and I sat beside this couple, Christina and Tim Coy, and we start talking. Come to find out, they're health coaches, and they're traveling to a leadership retreat in Utah. Well, they asked me about my story, and so I tell them, and I just happen to have one of my books in my book bag. Who didn't know that I would do something like that? And I was like, yeah, here it is, and showed it to him. So she jumps up, she comes and takes a picture with me in the book. She posted on her Facebook. And somebody mentions on her Facebook, "Oh my God, I'm going to go get that book now." And so I sold 2 books while I was on the plane headed to Birmingham because she posted that on her Instagram and on her Facebook. And so we've had a conversation, and we're going to talk about it. We don't know why we're meant to talk to each other, but there's something bigger happening there between us. Well, if they get up to go catch their flight, and another lady sits down beside me, she was like, "Oh, is that your book?" And I was like, "Yes." And she was like, "Can I see it?" And I'll show it to her. And she was like, "Oh my God, my son needs your book. He's in his 3rd stint in rehab." And I was like, "Oh, this would be perfect for him." So we get to talking. And she was like, "I've got a friend who runs a big convention out in Utah every September where people have been through addiction and are going on the other side. I think you would be a perfect speaker for his event. I'm going to send him your book and your podcast. Be expecting a phone call from him." OMG. That's 3 things in less than 6 hours. I get on the plane. I'm sitting beside this gentleman, and he gets up and he comes back and he sits down, and I see this logo, and I was like, that logo is awesome. What is that? And it's called the Heartbeat of Africa. And I don't know why that made me tear up when he said that. I just immediately got choked up. So we sit there and start talking. He's been a doctor in South Africa for almost 30 years, helping fight against AIDS. And now he's moved his whole thing towards children. He's got an event in Atlanta on November 10th for the Heartbeat of Africa, and they're doing a fundraiser or whatever. He was like, "My wife really needs to meet you and talk to you. She's been through some things, and I think we might also have some events for you to go speak at." And so we exchanged numbers. And so when I go back to Atlanta, I'm going to meet him and his wife for dinner and see what that turns out to be. And the event that I'm doing on the 16th, if everything goes well, that could turn into a 4-city tour where I'm the keynote speaker for Purses of Hope. So, and I've launched my online course, and I've got 8 women, 9 women, I think, that are in it right now. And while I've been doing this course, it's been truly amazing. I started it out as a 90-day soul transformation, and I kept having this thought drop down in my head. If we heal all the women and the men are still broken, what are we left with? And that thought's been on repeat in my head for weeks. And I was just like, what is that? I don't know what that means. But I've had so many men that talk about my book and reach out to me and tell me that I've changed their life and I've done this and I've done that. And so maybe it's me that's supposed to help the men heal. Well, what does that look like? If I try to sell them a course that says soul transformation, they're going to run. First of all, they're not going to talk about anything about soul or anything else because they've been taught for so long speaking your emotions and doing all of that is not okay. It makes you weak. It makes you that, which I call BS on all of that. So anyway, I've been thinking about it and meditating on it. And so I have finally come up with a name that will work for women and men. And I'm going to revamp it just a little, revamp the marketing, not revamp the program, because the program works for both women and men. But it's going to be the Spirit of a Warrior Challenge for 90 days. And it's just going to be awesome, dude. I'm like so stoked about all of that. So I think I could breathe right here. So I think I'm caught up. So I'm going to let you talk right now.
So inspirational, and thanks for everything you share. It's so beautiful, like your alignment, and having your book here. That's the book.
Yes, that's the
And
book. That's the one.
and I've been reading that book, Tammy, and I would say, I love to speak general in this, but like you're having a perspective in your life, and you have different things happening to you, but all of those things are leading to you where you're at today. And that is so inspirational, to letting everyone know that you can always start with clean sheet of paper, and you can always start in the moment to feel a little bit better, and to have those changes for you to go in the direction for get what you desire for, fulfill your desires, and have it in your experience. And I like your story you share there. So the journey, tell me about the journey then. Like we have our journey right now. We're always in the present right now, and where you at, you can start right here right now with changing what's happening. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And can you tell me more about the journey, like for your perspective from now, like
Okay, so you talking about like my story in the book, about my perspective about my story in the book, or what I'm going through right now?
yeah, like from the journey you are on that right now, it's been leading you to where you're at with your
Oh,
whole
yeah, yeah, yeah,
journey.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
So I think even when I share my story now, I had a workshop. That's the one thing I left out. I had a rip the Band-Aid workshop off with my friend Monique Gaffney. She's the spirit led coach, and I was the first one up to speak there, and I just brought down the house. It was tears and then laughter and then tears and then take a breath and tears and then realize I do have control over my life, and life is not controlling me. And I think the one thing that I always want people to take away from anything that happens in your life, good, bad, or indifferent, is you always have a choice in where you go when things happen. You know what I mean? When people do shitty things to you, it says more about them than it does you. It's something that they're going through, and it really has nothing to do with you. Your response to what it is that they do has everything to do with you. And it took me a long time to learn that lesson. And I've had a lot of people, the first thing they want to say is, "Oh, I'm sorry that you went through all of that." And I was like, I'm good. Do you know what I mean? I'm whole, and I'm strong, and I'm beautiful. And I'm powerful, and I'm unstoppable. And if I had not gone through the things that I went through, I may not be where I am today. I may not have the drive that I have today. I may not have the vision and the purpose that I have today. I may not have this overwhelming desire to help the world heal if I had not gone through the things that I went through. I may not have ever learned how to completely forgive somebody if I had not gone through those things. I may not have learned how to completely love myself if I had not gone through those things. I may not have learned what personal development is and how to grow and how to teach myself and others how to be a better person if I had not gone through those things. I had to learn to take responsibility for my actions. I had to learn how to take responsibility for my thoughts. I had to learn how to take responsibility for my emotions. I had to stop letting other people trigger me and control my emotions, because that's that victim mindset, that's that victim mentality. When you believe, you believe that there's an outside force controlling you, when in all actuality it's you allowing it. It's not anybody else controlling you. You're allowing somebody else's opinion. You're allowing somebody else's words. You're allowing somebody else's deeds. You're allowing whatever that looks like for you to control your emotions, your thoughts, your decisions, your thinking. When no matter what happens to you, like I said, bad things happen to people all the time. And you may or may not have had control of something that happened in that moment. But as soon as that moment is done, you have 100% absolute control and power to change your life from that moment forward. And that's a hard pill for people to swallow at first. And I think the power of my story and in sharing the fact that, I am a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, and it came from my own mother, and it came from my biological father. That I survived teenage rape from the only man that I ever called dad. I got married at 18, a child at 19, a child at 20, divorced 2 times by the time I was 32, lost everything I owned 4 times over the next 7 years. I was a 42-year-old stripper trying not to be homeless and ended up having a stare down with a bottle of sleeping pills. When you hear that in me sharing it in an emotional story and taking you through the hills and the valleys and the mountaintops and the winds and the sadness and the hurt and the forgiveness, and then you see me standing here and you see me sharing that with strength and saying, I don't give 2 shits about any of that stuff that happened, because I am who I am because of that. I took that and I built a bridge. I built a stairway to heaven, so to speak. You know what I mean? I created my life from the bricks that people threw at me. So all the doors that closed, I'm coming back to buy the house. Believe that. It's you can't tell me that there's not anything on this planet that I can't do, because I've already proven that I can. You know what I mean? If I had a stare down with a bottle of sleeping pills and I'm still standing here, that means I had to change. That was a pivotal moment in my life where I had to make a decision. Am I going to live or am I going to die? And that was the thought. Are you going to stay here in this and throw this pity party and allow life to continue to beat you up, because that was my belief? Or are you going to fight back, and you're going to fight for your life, and you're going to fight to want to breathe, and you're going to fight to want to live, and you're going to fight to get your body back, you're going to fight to get your mind back, you're going to fight to control your emotions, whatever that looked like. And in those moments, it was a fight for me. But that fight was better than the depression and the sadness and the hurt and the loneliness and the abandonment that I felt. And it was just a movement up the emotional scale. And I think that's the hard part that people have a problem with, is getting out of those lower level vibrations, and they're trying to get too big of a jump. You know what I mean? They're trying to go from depression to bliss, and you can't do that. You can go from depression to anger, though, because anger feels better than depression. And that's what I did. I went from depression and sadness to anger. And that anger felt a whole lot better than the depression and sadness. And as I climbed up the emotional scale, dude, you can't even get me in a lower level of vibration these days. Like, for real. Like, I think the lowest vibration that I might even entertain fleetingly would be frustration. Maybe even a little bit of overwhelmment, but the overwhelmment to me is not a negative emotion. It's, okay, you've put too much on your plate. You need to prioritize your priorities. And once you do that, then the overwhelmment goes away, because you try to do too much at one time. And so it's just a process. And I think that's one of the things that I'm the most proud of is as I learned to teach me how to be a better me, I created a roadmap. And in creating that roadmap, now I get to teach other people how to be their best selves. And they're not going to have to take 7 to 8 years to do it. The tools that I have and the exercises that I have developed work instantly. You know what I mean? You do this exercise, you feel the shift instantly. Now you practice it for 7 days, and now your foundation is stronger. If you're still not feeling strong in your foundation, you do it another 7 days. And by the 21st day, if you have to do it for 21 days, I haven't had anybody yet that's had to do any of my exercises for 21 days. 14 has been the longest anybody's had to do any of my exercises to feel so solid in who they are and in that shift that they don't have to do it anymore. But now they have the tools when somebody tries to step against them or tries to rock them off their foundation. They're like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. They're stepping into their power. They're taking their power back. They're owning who they are. They're stopping the people pleasing. They're learning how to say no and embracing it. And it's just a wonderful thing to watch people do and to hear them say, like, thank you so much. You changed my life. And it's just, I'm humbled and in awe by it all. And I just, like I said, I pinch myself and pat myself on the back all at the same time. And, Best Life has been a big part of that, man. Like, I became a part of Best Life the beginning of 2017, and my life has not been the same since. So it's been huge transformation.
I'm so agree with and it's so nice to hear you share everything you share. And with the Best Life, let's talk about the Best Life. I will also expand on that too. No, I came back in 2018, and my life feels so good and so easy now. I'm doing this daily meditation. I'm having this alignment class now with you, and I'm open up to create my own business around meditation, guided meditation, and it feels so good. And that guidance I got from when I was sitting in the hot seat with Abraham Hicks, having a conversation with her. I got a clear vision inside of me to do this meditation and daily, and now I'm on the road to create my own business in this, and for traveling around the world and open that up, the energy of it. I've been doing it for so many years before I started now in these classes. And tell me about the Best Life now. It's like, since you came in, what's been changing for you? What is that you're feeling around the Best Life that's so unique and special for you? And that
okay, so it's so weird. I don't even know how Best Life. Me and Jen laugh about this all the time. This is actually in my book in several places. So my best friend Teresa, I had coached her out of a 14-year abusive relationship. Being a personal trainer really taught me how to be a life coach. Because I realized I can teach a monkey how to lift weights. Okay, monkey see, monkey do. It's really not rocket science. I realized that I was doing way more life coaching because you have to get in their head. What's triggering you? Why do you keep going back to the set point? Why do you quit and start over? Or why do you quit and not come back? And so I really had to get into their emotional state and do all this kind of stuff. And then, in Teresa's story, she had been with this guy for 14 years and he'd almost killed her. He held her over a bridge and in a chokehold and said, the only way you're going to make it home to your kids is in a body bag. And I was able to coach her out of that relationship and into a loving relationship, and how to, change her life and realize that she was worthy. And she was like, Tammy, people need you. Like, you really need to look at becoming a certified life coach. So I did a lot of research. I looked at Tony Robbins because he's like one of my mentors that I've never met. Followed a lot of his stuff, read his books, and was really interested in going through his program. But it was like $5,000, and I didn't have that. And so I looked at a lot of other different options, and I was like, well, I'm going to set this to the side. It's definitely something that I want to do. I wrote it down in my journal as, that was the next logical step for me. And so the end of December, I get this email in my inbox from Sue saying that she was running a special on her level 1 life coaching for $99. I said, sold. But
Sue
I
is
could not.
amazing. Yeah.
I sent her an email and I was like, hey, I just got this email. This looks like a really phenomenal deal, like almost too good to be true. I just want to make sure that this is real. And she was like, oh, absolutely. It's a end of year special. And I was like, okay, so how do I pay you? And so I sent her $99 like right then. And she sent me the information that I needed to get the books for the class. And so class started on January 16th. And it was 4 weeks then, I think is what the class was. And we got to, the other people that were in the class, we got to coach each other. And it was really awesome. And as soon as I got done with the class, I did my practice sessions and got my certification. And I joined Best Life like right after it. Like it just made sense because I didn't know how to do the business side of being a life coach. I didn't know how to find my clients. I didn't know how to price my life coaching. I didn't know any of that. And I knew that even though I knew I was awesome at what it was that I did, I knew that I needed to learn more. And so I joined Best Life and I was on every freaking class that I could get on, like every class. I'm setting my own schedule at the gym, so that made it easy. And there was one day that Jen sent out a message on Wednesday, said leadership call at 1 p.m. But there was no number attached. And so I texted her and I was like, hey, Jen, what's the number for the leadership call? Like, I don't know. I don't see it on here. And she was like, oh, wait, that's for invite only. And I was going to put, oh, okay, sorry to have bothered you. Like that was typed out in my little message thing. And before I could hit send, she sends me a like rapid fire. She's, oh, wait, you'll be perfect for our leadership team. Here's the number. See you at 1. So that's how I finagled my way onto the leadership team. It had nothing to do with, oh, hey, Tammy, we want you to be a leader for the team. It was like, hey, what's this call? I need to be on there because it said leader. So that's kind of how I got on the leadership team and really just dug into Best Life. There were one of the classes that I took that was very pivotal for me was another class that Sue taught was releasing past traumas. And I knew I had done a lot of work. I had learned how to do the freedom release method, released a lot of negativity and stuff with that. And was just very freeing. I was sleeping better at night, feeling much better. My allergies had actually gone away. I wasn't taking any more allergy medicine, which was phenomenal from doing that. But taking Sue's releasing past traumas, I realized there was still some stuff around my mom that I had not released yet, my mom and my biological father. And Sue found it. And she was like, if you don't mind, can you stay on after the call and let's dig into this a little bit deeper? And I was like, absolutely. And so I shared more of my story with her and she was like, okay, so I have some releases. Do you want to do them right now? And I was like, sure. First one, dude, Niagara Falls, just bawling. And like, I think she did like 5 and all of them were done. She gave me the Phillips to do. And like, that was the first time I think I'd slept like a baby in forever. And from there, it's just been onward and upward. We went to they announced the leadership retreat. I wasn't sure if I could go on that. I wasn't sure that I would. It was summertime at the gym and things were slowing down. And Vanna got on the phone with me and we started looking up flights. And I got round trip tickets for under $700, including bag fees and everything, to Norway, with an overnight in Iceland to go to the Blue Lagoon, which was a bucket list item. Went to Norway, scattered my mom's ashes, which was phenomenal. Jen and everybody was on the mountain with me. And that was the last piece of healing that I really needed with my mom, man, just to set her free. She'd been in a box her whole life, had fought life her whole life. And she never found freedom for that, but she was free that day. And when I got home, I had a meditation in the shower, and it was like an out of body experience. And I see a sign that says San Diego, and heard a whisper said, "Get there and I'll show you further." And 90 days later, I'm in San Diego, and here we are. The rest is kind of history.
Such a great story. And isn't that nice that isn't that nice time that all of those experiences we have in our life, say ups and downs, now we are here. We are now when we are refreshed and the understanding of the emotion and also the acceptance, because emotion comes and goes, but also to be present and forward focused. That's what I feel we are in the best life now. It's like very present and forward focused, and knowing that it all is good. It really doesn't matter what's going on, what you do or have, but more about what is your, to just know that your beingness, your alignment is always available for you. As like this class is all about alignment. Alignment is always open and free for all. Never judge us, never criticize, and never have any condemnation about us. It's always uplifting, loving, caring, supporting to you and through you, always, forever and ever more. And when you stay in that, and the knowingness of that space is there for you always, and you practicing, and you start to understand the process inside of yourself, because it's nothing outside of yourself that can make you complete, and there's nothing to complete you. You are an expansion beingness that's forever and ever more. So when you're understanding the inside more and starting to noticing more, like the breathing, these releases, you have freedom, release, you have different things, and you feel that relief and you feel that expansion inside of you, and the knowingness that you self got it all. It's been like that from the beginning. That's like I love about you. You all got it. That's what I love about your book too. You understand more that you have the power to change. You still what kind of circumstances you have, and still how bad it can look. It really doesn't matter, because you always have the opportunity to change. And when you change, the vibration and feeling, the natural energy from within starting to arises more, and you starting to feel more of those desires, and feeling that you can that you believe in those things, and you start to experience it. You're leading on the edge of what you come for into this physical world, into this physical body, for you to really to be in the feel you now and feel better and better and better. And that's what I love about your story in your book, that it's just leading up to better and better and better things for you, because you've been leading yourself to understand your own creation, your own your uniqueness, your alignment, and that you now are staying in that space more and more, and you experience. And now you share your story in the beginning, what's going on in your life now, and you see this is a great story, and knowingness that it really doesn't matter where you at. You always have the opportunity to start right now, and to change and to feel, and to get in the way of, and in direction to where you want, but where you desire. Because we all have a desire. We have a desire before we came into this physical birth. We have a desire to be here in human form. That was before we came here, and now we're here in human form with this non-physical, this love energy, this someone called God, some different terminology on that. But with that energy, you are for desire, for feeling those desire you feel for. It's follow your bliss, follow your intuition, follow your guidance, and your guidance is always with you. Your guidance always allow you to feel the best of it, and better and better. It's not like you say, it's not moving from one place to another like a quantum leap, like a quantum jump from one place to another, but taking those steps. It's feeling always like a feeling a little bit better. And when you're having this emotion changing and having those feelings changing, then it's leading you to feel better, and also to experience things outside of yourself, brighter and shinier, and it looks different as well. So it's so inspiring to have that kind of, the understanding for yourself, because we all have it in all, we all humanity have it. We all in human form had its non-physical energy in us.
Right. I think the biggest thing that I want people to take away when they hear my story is, one, I never want anybody to feel sorry for me, because I don't feel sorry for me at all. If you look at my life now, my life is freaking phenomenal, and there's nothing that anybody can do to take that away from me. So,
Yeah.
whatever. But
That's
you've got to, like, when you're in that moment of that sadness or that hurt or that depression or whatever, instead of focusing on the depression and the hurt, why do you want to get out of it? Like, your why is going to be your driver. And people question, like, how have you done so much in such a short period of time? Like, I haven't been in California 2 years yet. Like, I'm just over 18 months. But my why is to never experience that depression, that sadness, that hurt, or to ever go through that turmoil ever again. And to do my very best to make sure that I can help as many people as I can not ever have to experience that any longer than necessary. And to make sure that my children have the availability to change their emotional life in any way that they see fit. I think my hardest challenge with all the growth it is that I've done is when I see my children going through things and I have to let them go through it. Knowing that I have the tools and the answers, but they won't allow me, and I have to be okay with that, and detach from it and not let it rattle me off of my foundation, because it's their choice. And so yeah, it's always a choice in where you are and where you're going. You can put your head on swivel. You can look at the past, but if you're looking at your past, is there anything that you can do to change it? Nope. It's like dry ink on a piece of paper. It's like the dry ink in every word in my book. You can't do anything to change your past. All you can do is change your perspective on how you look at it. If you can change your perspective on how you look at the things that hurt you, you will change your life dramatically without ever changing the facts. That's
yeah.
huge. Your perspective is everything. Like, so many people look to look to acquire revenge against somebody that hurt them. They're looking to pay somebody back for wrong deeds and hurts and pains and whatever. But nobody's looking to pay anybody back for the help that they gave them, the love that they gave them, the things that they did to make them better. What a wonderful world it would be if we changed our perspective to pay everybody back for all the wonderful things that they did to help us versus paying them back for all the things they did to hurt us.
Yeah, I think isn't that true also when it's like for myself when I'm in alignment, I don't have any thoughts or feelings about hurt from someone what's been happening in the past, what people have done to me or any of those things because the feelings when you are in alignment, you own it's a frequency of alignment and you're feeling good. So feeling good equal feeling good, and you having then thoughts and feelings of appreciation, those feeling good things, abundance. You look at things that feels good around you. You are having that kind of energy. That's what you're feeling is, and from we talk about perspective, but from mine now, it's like I understand that we came forward in this physical body with this non-physical energy, and we are here for desire and to feel good through those things we go through. But also when there is we having the contrast, but that is the expansion of that everything is for us. Still, when there is a contrast, then the wantingness aspects of it, the feeling good aspects of it, is it's a natural intuition coming to for feeling more of that. If you have something you don't want, you have immediately in the guidance perspective something that's telling you this is what I want, but this is what I decide for. But it's always looking at the feel good space. It don't look at the bad space of it. The guidance and the source and the alignment, it's never looks back. It's always looking forward and present, and it's always look the best of everything you experience in your life. It really doesn't matter what's going on, but it's always looking at the alignment perspective in everything you experience. And then when you are then having those, you having this experience of feeling better and better every day now is leading up for you to letting it happen for those things you have been asking, or those things you've been creating into the vortex, things you have been, how many things you desires you for, and now this leading up for more and more experience for you to feel it. It's always, isn't that right? That it's like you now you're on the fire, you're on fire, and you have it. But how do you feel through those things? How are you feeling when with all of these things now going on? Because you're having a lot of things,
Uh,
beautiful things.
it's freaking amazing, dude. Like, um, it's really hard to put into words. And like, if somebody's watching this that don't know what we're talking about when you say alignment, think about a train on a train track. All right. So if the train wheels are on the track, then it's in alignment and it's going to run smoothly and it's going to stay on the track and it's going to get you from point A to point B. Think of your emotions as being in alignment with your higher power, God, source, inner being. When you're in alignment, you're feeling good, you're feeling content, you're feeling happy, you're feeling joy, things are coming to you, the synchronicities of life are happening. It seems like, oh, it's a miracle. No, it's not a miracle. You're just who you really are. You're in alignment with who you're supposed to be, and with your higher power. And if you're from the religious sector, we all know that you're God, Holy Ghost, Spirit, whatever lives inside you. If they live inside you, then you have all the same power that they have. It scares people when you talk about that. But the alignment part is when you're feeling good. It's hard to have anything. It's hard to have a bad day. You know what I mean? And if you want the universe to play with you, do something small to start off with. There's a funny story that I talk about all the time. I had just started at the gym. I got up late one morning. I was heading to the gym. I was on the phone with my friend Teresa, and I was like, wouldn't it be nice if I hit all green lights and got a front row parking spot so I wouldn't be late when I got to the gym? Now, mind you, I'm a mile and a half from the gym, okay? I should never be late, ever. Like, max, it takes me 7 minutes to get to the gym. And so she was like, yeah, that would be nice, but that's not going to happen. I was like, well, I don't know. I'm just going to say, wouldn't it be nice? We're going to talk and we're going to find out if this happens. So we're just talking, minding our business. I've already released the thought. If it happens, great. If not, great. At most, I'm going to be 2 minutes late. Who cares? So we pull up to the first red light. And as soon as I'm pulling up to it, I never even have to hit the brakes. It turns green. And she was like, that's just a coincidence. And I was like, maybe. Get to the second light. As I'm coming down the hill, it's red. I get closer to it, and then it turns green before I get to the bottom of the hill. The only reason I have to hit my brakes is because there's cars in front of me. Go through the green light. The next one is green. The next one is green. I pull into the parking lot at the gym. The parking spot right beside the handicap. That person's pulling out, and guess who's the first one in line to get it? Me.
Here you go.
So, you know what I mean? And now, everywhere that I go, I get front row parking. Like, it shocks and amazes people when I say that, but everywhere I go, I get front row parking. My daughter and my granddaughter came out here for spring break. We went to the safari park at the zoo. And this is hilarious because they had a part that says parking lot full. Well, I just saw somebody come out of there and I was like, well, if they came out, that means it's not full. So I followed my intuition and I went into the park that said full. And so I turned down this aisle. There's two other cars and I see somebody pulling out. And I was like, well, they're going to get that one, but maybe there's something up front. And so this white truck is coming towards us. She passes the first two cars. She stops at my car, tells me to roll down my window and says, hey, there's a front row parking spot up front. Pass all of this stuff and go up there. Nobody will get it before you get there. I was like, okay. And Brittany was like, do you know her? And I was like, no. She was like, why did she stop at your car and not stop at the other one? I was like, I don't know. But, maybe the universe has my back. And so we pulled up front right. We pulled up to the front and it was right there. And I was like, this is freaking awesome. So, yeah, it's when you don't allow your emotions to run you. You don't allow the opinions of others to rile you up and throw you off your game, throw you off your merry-go-round. uh, you can you can have an amazing life, man. You can create whatever it is that you want. Like I said, I rarely even have any lower level emotions whatsoever. Frustration, I think, is probably about the only one that sneaks in, and that's when I put too much on my plate for a day. I book too much, knowing that I need some more space in there. Um, but alignment is